And I sat down that first day, and that phone rang from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. And like I sat at my desk and I was like, I'm gonna fucking quit right now. I was like, I don't think. Can I cuss on this? Is that
Absolutely,
okay?
yeah. This is.
I sometimes they just slip. All right.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't. This is not for me. I don't like people that much. Like, I don't want to talk to people and tell them to. Did they turn it off and on?
Hey, she's a beauty.
Well, Unfluffy Bunny or Jonathan, which do you go by?
I mean, Jonathan's good.
Good.
Like,
Unfluffy Bunny's a lot to say,
Yeah, that's why most people just call me Bunny.
Well, I wasn't. I was going to say Bunny, but I was like, hey, that might be a little, that's for behind the scenes type stuff. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's one of those situations I tell everybody, like, yeah, Bunny's fine.
Yeah,
Unfluffy
awesome.
Bunny's a lot. Yeah.
Well, thank you for doing this, man. I really appreciate this.
Yeah, no. Thanks for having me. I was very excited when you asked if I wanted to hop on and join, and I was like, yeah, of course. Especially after you had Garlum, and then you had
dude,
Dan
that was
also.
Awesome. Yeah, Dan. Actually, just had Markstrom last night. Did an offline recording with him. So the whole premise of Tarducks is basically getting one-on-ones with all of you guys who are in the community, doing, whether you're streaming, whether you're creating content, whether you're part of Evasion, and just letting people hear that story.
I remember when I started in Tarkov, it was right around the time that Sigma and Veritas, and even before like Pestily was even big.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember like getting rated by Pestily. Like Pestily followed my channel 4 years ago. You know what I mean?
Sweet.
Yeah, this was before all of them have grown. So that's really awesome. I'm glad to hear that. That's going to be cool.
Yeah. So, but tonight it is about you, Bunny.
Perfect. Spotlight on me. Great.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go with 3 quick questions. Who's your favorite cartoon hero growing up?
Oh, like actual cartoon hero? Or are we talking like comics or anything
like
that?
Cartoon first.
Cartoon.
What was your favorite cartoon growing up?
Oh man, probably Ninja Turtles.
Okay.
100%. Yeah.
All right. That tells me you're at least born late 80s.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Mid 80s, like literally mid 80s, like middle.
Okay. All right. That's good. I don't feel as old as
Yeah, I'm an old one.
All right, I'm older. I got you beat. I remember seeing Star Wars in the drive-in in '77 when I was 5. So yeah, I'm an OG. Furthest place you've ever traveled?
Oh man, it depends. I've been from one coast to the other. I've gone to like Mexico. But that's pretty much it. Nowhere overseas too far.
Yeah.
Usually still just North America, but yeah, probably Cozumel, Mexico.
Okay.
I've traveled a lot. I love traveling. It's one of my favorite things.
All right, and the last of the rapid fire questions, what's your favorite adult beverage?
Favorite adult, a Long Island iced tea.
All right.
Or an old fashioned. Actually, damn, old fashioned. Now that I've gotten older,
I
kind of lean more into the old fashions.
Yeah.
Long Island was like for a long time, like that was my go-to because I'm a big guy. It doesn't come across on the screen. People don't understand this. I'm like 6'2", 6'3". Like I'm a big guy.
Yeah.
And so like going out to drink, it's like, I could pound beers all day and like I'm like, oh whatever, I don't feel anything. But Long Island's, they did the trick when I was younger.
Okay. Very cool. All right, let's jump into it. Where does the nickname Unfluffy Bunny come from?
Oh man, it is actually like a 2-part thing.
All right.
So one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid was Monty Python and the Holy Grail. So I always loved those little white bunny scenes where they just murder everybody. It's like you have this cute, innocent thing that just murders. And then so I always had something with like bunny in my name growing up. And then when I started playing Guild Wars 1 on the PC, I had a lot of European friends, and the way that we communicated and worked was we had a website called unfluffybunny.com at the time. And it was just kind of like our community thing. And then when that imploded and went away, I decided to keep the name and keep going with it.
Okay. Very cool. All right. So how did we get here today? How did Unfluffy Bunny get from guild gaming to here you are on stream, on Twitch.
Yeah. Oh, that is a long story, but I'll condense it down. So
Okay.
I went to school for computer programming, networking, web design, and with a minor in graphics. So I went to college, I did that, got married, all that stuff, and I was working for a insurance company, Blue Cross and Blue Shield of South
Yeah.
Carolina. I was working for them, and I was in their network or their I started in their department to help with any kind of website issues.
Yep.
So I was a support center. It was literally a support, like a call center, and it was the worst job I had ever had in my entire life. I and it was it was so bad because when I interviewed, I was like, and like I went to like the testing, and I went in and they were showing. I was like, I even asked the recruiter. I was like, is this a call center job? And he was like, no, you might take one or two calls ever. This is more website based stuff, because that's what I went to school for, was websites, building websites. So I was like, okay, or you're sure? He's like, yeah. And I sat down that first day, and that phone rang from 8 a.m.
Oh,
until 5 p.m. And like I sat at my desk, and I was like, I'm gonna fucking quit right now. I was like, I don't think. Can I cuss on this? Is that
absolutely.
okay?
Yeah. This is.
I sometimes they just slip. All right.
Yep.
I was like, I don't. This is not for me. I don't like people that much. Like, I don't want to talk to people and tell them did they turn it off and on.
Oh God.
And then my wife at the time was like, just stick it out. Do you think you can stick? I was like, I'll try. And then I was there for 5 years, and I had left that job, and I worked for the same company, and I moved to handling prisons claims processing, and did programming for them. So I actually wrote how the claims came in,
Yeah.
and that was nice. That was awesome. That was more my field. I didn't have to talk to people, and
Yep.
handle things. That was way more my field. And then the company decided to restructure. So my entire branch where I lived pretty much was just like, it was axed. Like, the entire company, for the most part, they went down to a skeleton crew. They made people work from home, and then my entire job was cut and moved to a different city. And it
Oh
was just
no.
like, so I got a big severance and things like that when that happened. And I have been on Twitch since 2012, December of 2012.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I've had an account with them for 2012, 2013, something
Yeah.
like that. And I've always like passively streamed, where it was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I'll stream for friends. I'm just gonna stream to friends. I'm gonna do this. And then um it it was something I had loved, and I originally started streaming from my Xbox because I didn't have a PC strong enough to do it.
Yeah.
Well, before Xbox and the Mixer thing happened, Xbox promoted streamers on Twitch, like through
Oh.
their app, that were streaming Xbox games from the Xbox. They
Yeah.
had this whole section. So whenever a Games with Gold would come out, I would stream it from my Xbox and get like 100, 200
Oh
people,
shit.
which was mind blowing to
Yeah.
me at the time. Like, you want to talk about discoverability not happening? That was discoverability showing, like, this is how it happens. People
Oh
want to know about these
shit.
games with gold. It was amazing. And I didn't have OBS.
Yeah.
I didn't have notifications. I had the chat on my phone and next to me at the time. Like, I'm like, yeah, guys. And then, I had the trolls come in where they would do like /me donates $100. And I'm like, I'm nothing set up. You didn't donate $100. Go away. But so I was like, you know what? This is something I've always wanted to do. I love content creation. I love YouTube. I love gaming. I've been gaming since I was like 2,
Yeah.
3. I mean, the NES was my first console. Like, my dad, like, he played it for weeks beforehand
Yeah.
in secret before Christmas. And then like 2 weeks after I had it, I was showing him how to do things.
Yeah.
My mom talks about it all the time. She's like, yeah, he would be like, no, let me show you how to do it. So gaming is a huge part of my life. And I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I have severance saved up. I've got this big thing done, and I just went and I did it. I was like, yep, we're doing it. And I've been doing it ever since.
Wow. So you've been full time for that long?
Yeah, I've been full time for that long. It's been a roller coaster. It's been, man, my whole past few years has been up and down a
Yeah.
lot. Personal life, things like that, and then
Yeah.
so
It's like all the conversations I have with everybody who does this as a job. It is not easy like a lot of people think it is. You're not just playing a game and you have to worry about the content creation aspect after you go off stream. You're sitting for hours in front of a computer and you're not having that interaction combat or contact like you do with a 9 to 5 job.
yeah.
It's got to be so tough.
It is extremely tough, and I have made so many mistakes through my career.
Yeah.
Like, and I own every one of them. I don't blame anybody else for any of my mistakes, because when I originally started streaming, I started playing I started League of Legends, and then like within a month I stopped League of Legends and instantly went to Tarkov. And
Yeah.
that was when my Tarkov career started.
Oh, okay.
And I was right there. I was in the Tarkov community before Tarkov had blown up, when it did that first real big blow up when Pest and
that was
Veritas and
amazing.
Stigma, so what had happened was I was in there with them at the time, and I had gone through a couple of wipes with Tarkov, and then I was like, I like this, but I'm gonna go to GTA RP. Like, I was like, I'm gonna do RP. I was like, this, I like acting, I like being goofy. This will be fun.
You got the voice for it.
Yeah, so I went and I left Tarkov right before Tarkov blew up. Yeah. So I went to GTA RP, but I don't regret that, because when I went, I do regret it. I do have regrets where I'm like, man, that was like a big opportunity that was missed. But I went to GTA RP and I learned a lot, and I did really, really well over at GTA RP. I met some amazing content creators over there, like Timac. He plays Tarkov every once in a while. Proxy, there was some huge content creators that I got to meet and be a part of, and a really good community. And unfortunately, the server that I was on, it was one of the biggest servers at the time. It was the family RP. That was like where if you were a RPer in GTA, you were on the server, and then that server fell apart.
Yeah.
And then that's when, and then at that time I was like, it was funny too, because I've done it twice now. I left there and I came back to Tarkov. Well, when you do that, you have to rebuild.
Yeah.
And so I started the rebuilding process here at Tarkov and with the Tarkov community. And lo and behold, I left GTA right as No Pixel picked up, and that whole GTA RP blew back up. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? This is twice this has happened to me as a content creator, where I leave and then I move to something else, and then that thing blows up, and I'm just like, whatever.
Oh God. That's crazy. Oh my Lord. Now you're going to do it for Cycle? You're going to hop over to Cycle, or wait till Cycle blows up and it's like, hey guys, what's going
to happen is if I go over to the Cycle, Tarkov is going to blow up again. It's literally, I'm going to leave and Tarkov is just going to blow up again.
Yeah.
And no, I really do the Cycle is one of those games that is going to be in my rotation of games.
Yeah.
Because it has that Tarkov itch in a very unique way, and I thoroughly love it. So I think there's a great symbiotic relationship that can be had between Tarkov and the Cycle, and it's it's very different. Like, I have viewers that are just like, I could not watch you do GTRP. It's so boring. I don't enjoy it, and that's understandable. But with the Cycle, you have those people who are like, well, it's still a shooter, it's still loot shooting. And you get that nice group. So I'll probably throw that into. I loved it. Man, I can't wait for that open beta to open back up. It's what, the 18th?
Yeah, it's not too far off. Yep. Now here's something I would like. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Like I said, 77 I saw it, and I was thinking the other day. What if you had George Lucas and Nikita had a baby, and you had a Tarkov style game, but in the Star Wars universe, where maybe instead of Bears and USEC, you had the Hutts and the Black Sun being your two, and then basically you're doing raids on Rebel or Imperial planets or maps, and you throw in all the things that are in Tarkov, the gunplay, the loot and shooters. Oh my God, that would be fucking awesome.
As long as nobody is a Jedi.
Yes.
because and this is one thing, like, I'm a huge Star Wars fan also, like, absolutely love Star Wars. Star Wars is always, to the core, its best when it is a space western.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
And that's one thing I've always I love Star Trek also, but I love Star Trek and Star Wars for two separate reasons. Star Trek I love because of the ships. Like you could take the story, you could just put those ships and fight them all day, and I'll just sit there like, yes, this is what I want. Just keep blowing, like have some emotion on the ship on the deck, like cut to them every once in a while. We don't have enough, whatever. Blow each other up. That's all I want. But when Star Wars happens, I want it to be a western. That's why I think Mandalorian and like Book of Boba Fett, even though I didn't really enjoy the way it started.
Boba Fett. I'm not sure still on that one, but
I'm right there with you. Like those first 3 episodes, I just sat there and I went, "This isn't good." Like
this is not who Boba Fett is.
I was like, no, Boba Fett's a badass. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, Boba Fett is amazing, and you guys have literally just turned him into a chump. Like at every turn, he's just getting beat. There's a lot with that show that they're to unpack, but when the problem is too that the show only got good when Mandalorian came back, and I was like, this isn't okay. Like, you guys need to not do this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but no, so Tarkov Star Wars would be kind of cool.
You know that there is a game that's in early development that is Tarkov in space.
Oh,
I cannot remember the name of it. But it is literally like the developer pretty much was like, Tarkov was our complete inspiration for this. And it's weird too, because all of the guns are space styled, but they're all space styled off of like AKs or M4. Like they're very much, you get that, like, with the cycle, you don't ever have any kind of like attachment to the weapons because you're like, that's not a real weapon. What they did was they were like, no, what if we took real weapons? But it was like we rushed to space, so we had to use the weapons we had, so we modified them a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, what is the name of? I've got to look up the name of this game. I cannot remember. Like,
final Star Wars thing, and then we'll jump over to But if you're watching all 9 movies, do you include Rogue One in it? If you're doing a marathon, do you do 1 through 3, drop in Rogue One, and then do the original, and then end with the let's not talk about the end movies.
Yes, I think so. I think Rogue One, when I remember watching Rogue One, and I was like, this is Star Wars. This is the perfect, like, way that they did everything. And my favorite thing was there was no retconning of material with it. It was like, no, you just kind of were like, this could have happened. Like, this could have been its own standalone movie.
Oh, totally.
Before, and you would have been like, this makes complete sense.
Yeah. That's during the whole movie, they all started dying off. Like, oh my God, nobody's going to get, and it's like, holy shit. And that was just, it was, I really enjoyed that one. That was such a great movie.
Yeah, it was really well done. The music in that one also was absolutely amazing. I loved it.
Yeah. Oh man. So Tarkov, what got you hooked into Tarkov?
I like pain. I'm gonna be honest. Like,
you like getting your food pushed in?
I think that's what it is. Like, man, I remember. So I wasn't in the first. Obviously, I'm not an alpha member of Tarkov. I'm not. But I remember learning about Tarkov through Clintus and through Grimm's, and through Deadly Slob.
Yeah.
Like, I remember learning about Tarkov through them and watching this game that was so unforgiving. And the biggest thing for me was the gun gameplay.
Yep.
The shooting, the way that you could modify their weapons, but it was real modification. It was like that next logical step in Call of Duty, where it's like, you can pick up a gun in Call of Duty, you can tell that this is that sight. It's not named that sight in real life. You can tell that it has this grip or this, and they just make it like, oh, this is the gun. You know what I mean? But Tarkov did something that no other developer had done, or BSG did, where it was like, I could build an entire weapon in this game, go to the local gun store, and build that entire weapon.
Yeah.
And the way that people moved and fought, and the looting aspect of it, it kind of scratched all of those itches
Yeah.
that I was looking for at the time.
Yep.
And it was just perfect across the board.
And it's even today, it's like no other game scratches that itch like that. You know, it's well,
Mhm.
I'll go and try another game, and then I'll just feel that like that itch. I got to come back to Tarkov. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Now, do you still, you know, you've been playing for a while. Do you still get the pucker factor?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it depends. Like, it honestly is one of those situation where, yeah, you know what? No, I still do. I'm thinking like it's like, especially like if I run into bosses or anything like that, it still
Yeah.
happens. Like I 100% hear shots near me, and I'm like, what? Where?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I still get that. Like some of the combat rushes have kind of died down a little bit
Mhm.
for me, but no, it's still same game.
Yeah. It is. It's pretty good. So now with you know, Christmas came, the 12/12 drop. What has been your favorite thing about that?
Oh, 100% inertia.
Yeah.
100%. So Tarkov had a really weird transition cycle where we had the game that we loved, right?
Mhm.
Tarkov originally, when I first started playing it, was so amazing. It was so different. It was so unique. And then we got, what was it, 11.12 or something, or 10.12? I can't remember. But it was the moment that the game became Call of Duty.
Yeah. Are we
And
talking before when you can go into labs and you go in with a weapons case, load it up, and just run, jump?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like when we got this entire new influx of players that were younger. They
Yeah.
were Call of Duty players. They were Fortnite players. They were these people who very much liked running gun gameplay.
Yeah.
And that was never what Tarkov was supposed to be.
Mhm.
Um, now I don't begrudge them or anything like that, and I've talked about this multiple times where I appreciate them coming in and opening the developers' eyes to like some fundamental flaws with the game that
Yeah.
needed to be addressed. And it pushed the developers to make and address those issues faster
Yeah.
than I think they may have. Because you have like when you have people that are just sprinting all over a map such as labs. I mean, because like when I played, factories was our labs.
Yeah.
Like factory was the map. If you wanted PvP, you would put on your fort armor, your Alton, you would run PvP on factory.
Yeah.
And then we left that behind and we went and then we got labs, and that whole labs gameplay to me, like still, I watch labs players still today, and I'm like, this isn't Tarkov. This is boring. Like
Yeah.
this is, if I want to do this or I want to watch this, I'm gonna go watch somebody play Warzone.
Yep.
Like honestly, like cool. You get a cool gun. You get a one tap peek. Okay, that was
Right.
cool. I guess not really. Like there wasn't
Yeah.
a lot of skill in that. You just literally lined his head up, peeked him, shot him, he died. Like that could have been attributed to desync. That could have been attributed. Like I don't find that a lot of skillful.
Yeah.
Like this when it comes to gameplay. I think there's a lot of knowledge, and I
Mhm.
appreciate the knowledge that they have. I'm like, no, to know that hey, when I lean out, my gun needs to be at this
Right.
height to hit him in the head if that's where they're at. Like that game knowledge, I will never take that away from people.
Yeah.
But what they're doing, I'm like, it's not for me.
Yeah. Now, were you surprised when all of a sudden you're in a raid and all of a sudden you hear the airdrop, the plane fly over, and it's like, what the hell?
Yeah, oh man, the airdrops. When Nikita, God, a year ago, I think it was that Nikita
The picture?
teased airdrops. Like
Yeah.
he was on a podcast and he was like, I want to have airdrops in the game. And everybody was just thinking like PUBG airdrops.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what it is.
Yeah, oh,
like,
yeah.
realistically, but like everybody just thought he was joking.
Yeah.
So the fact that like the first time I heard of that airdrop happen and like I knew about it
Yeah.
because it was like leaked by everybody once they knew about it, and I was like, okay, well, let's see. And then the first time that happened, I was just like, is this a thing? Like, I was like, this is great. Actually, this is amazing. Like the amount of things that you can set up because of an airdrop. Like, oh, you need shooterborn? Oh, I've been having a hard time getting shooterborn on this map. Here's an airdrop. I used an airdrop to get 2 of my shooterborns on Shoreline this pipe. I was like, this is great. I'm just gonna lay over here and just wait. And lo and behold, somebody comes walking up, and then I just tap them in the head.
Yep, absolutely. No, you
Oh,
can't
I
knock
love them.
that.
I love them. I love them.
And VoIP has surprised me. I was thinking VoIP, PUBG is like, oh, this is going to be awful, but it is not. It hasn't turned to that yet, and it's still, everybody gets their sort of little RP on going on, like, hey, with their VoIP voice going, and it's still fun.
Oh, VoIP is something I remember when we talked about when we were like playing around with the idea of VoIP. VoIP is one of those things that I always was against. I
Yeah,
like 100% from the moment somebody said VoIP in Tarkov, I was like, this is the dumbest idea anybody can do. Like, this
yeah,
is so like, why? Because the thing about it, and what I'm very sad about, is Tarkov we had a unique language.
hmm,
You know what I mean? Like, why do you think the AI scavs wiggle?
yeah,
And that's gone. Like, wiggling's gone. Like, that's
yeah.
not a thing anymore.
Nope.
So, like, there's this whole aspect of this this communication aspect that we had in Tarkov that is just obsolete. And like, you see, like, a new player joins today that has no idea about wiggling, sees a scav
It's
wiggle
like,
at
what the
him, he's
fuck?
gonna be like, "Why is that scav doing that? What is he
Yeah.
doing?" But that was a thing. Like, we knew, like, hey, you wiggle at each other, you guys are homies for the rest of the raid. Like, you
Oh
don't kill
yeah.
each other,
Yeah.
and that's gone. But VoIP for the most part has been really, really good. Like, I think it's very healthy. I think it's very, I don't know. Like, I was apprehensive about turning it on at first, but I'm very, very glad I did.
Yeah.
It has been amazing. Because I also play Hunt Showdown a
Yeah.
lot, and the VoIP in that is super toxic. And I was just expecting that's what it was gonna be, but it
Now, why
wasn't.
do you think VoIP is toxic in the Hunt versus Tarkov? Is it just, I got to think where the ages are probably similar, the average age of person playing that game.
Steam. I think a lot of it has
Oh,
to do with
okay.
Steam.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's a Steam
Yeah,
game. People
that's
are a
true.
little bit more, I don't know.
Yep.
Like, I don't know. Like, I wish I could say it more. But I also think it's just the caliber of people. Like, I mean, to play Tarkov versus Hunt. I mean, Hunt is a game that, like, it's very grueling. It's very much along the lines of Tarkov in a couple of senses. About how you're loading into the raid, your character has permadeath,
Yeah.
things like that. Um, but there is a struggle to Tarkov that just, I think, creates camaraderie between players. Like, it just happens for the
Yeah.
most part. There's always going to be a few bad apples,
Oh,
but
yes. Ah. Now, when you started playing Tarkov, were you mainly solo or did you run with groups?
when I originally started playing Tarkov, I was solo.
Yeah.
Always. I always played by myself. And then I have a couple of like viewers that had come in, and I became really good friends with them, and then we started playing a lot together. And um but yeah, like, even still, like, most of the time, if I did anything in Tarkov, it was always solo. I
Yeah.
did so much solo.
It's
But
a
now
tough game to
it
play
is.
with other people. It really shows how bad we are at communication.
And that's very true. But like, I do have to say, the more that I've played it,
Hmm.
like, now I would much prefer to play with somebody. Like, God, playing solo, unless I'm doing like what I did tonight, where I just did money runs on
Yeah.
Shoreline, like, to me, I just get so bored now. Like, I'm like, I don't want to be by myself. Like, this is I
Yeah.
like it is way more interesting and high. Like, I think it's more high energy because you're
Hmm.
literally communicating with somebody else. Like, where are you at? What are you
Yeah.
doing? Are we doing this? Okay, they're on this floor. Like, there's a lot more high intensity. Whereas, like, solo, if I run into a 4-man on solo, I don't have to worry about anybody else.
Yeah.
I just need to kill everything that moves. It doesn't
Right.
matter.
You're not
You know?
communicating. You're going at your pace. You're not trying to adjust to everybody else's pace. And yeah, no, that's true.
Exactly.
Now you run with a. Who do you mainly run with?
Oh, I don't have like a main group that I run
Yeah.
with. I would probably say recently the main person and main people that I've been running with is like Sigma. I've been
Yeah.
running with Sig a lot lately. Gingy, if she's around,
Yeah.
Miss Bo if she's playing. But yeah, me and Sig have been running a lot together lately, and it's been nice. It's really fun. She's great. She's
Oh,
awesome at the game. She takes
dude.
care of me because I forget everything. That's why my name in game is Goldfish Boy now.
That's awesome. But, that brings up to a good point. Like the women in Tarkov are badasses, man. We got such a great community, I think, compared to other games and whatnot. I just, they're just top notch.
Yeah, 100%. There are a lot of amazing female content creators and female players across every game, but the ladies of Tarkov are a different breed. Like,
Yeah.
oh, like I don't ever like. I'm so glad some of them are on servers that I can't connect to because I'm just like, if I ran into you, you're just gonna kill me.
Yeah.
I know my skill level, and I watch what they do, and it's no, I don't want any part of that.
Nope.
They're amazing.
Peace,
All
I'm
of the
out.
ladies.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
Now, speaking of Sigma, you're with Evasion. You're part of the Evasion crew. How did you get hooked up? Actually, first of all, what do you do with Evasion?
So with Evasion, I am the headcaster for Evasion. I assist, with production. I assist with making sure that we have casters available for all of our events. But yes, I'm the headcaster at Evasion.
And how did you get hooked up with them?
Oh man, so I originally got in with Evasion back in season 2 of the streamer battles. A buddy of mine, one of my mods, was like, "Hey, they're doing this. You should sign up." And I was like, "I'm not good enough to sign up." But I was like, "Whatever, I'll sign up."
Yeah.
So I signed up, and they approached me, and they were like, "Hey, do you want to play?" This was back when it was a little bit less formal in the sense of like, contact and setting everything up.
Yeah.
And Sig literally messaged me and was like, "You got a spot? Do you want to play?" I was like, "Are you available?" I was like, "Yes, I am in." I played in my first round and I won it. I was like, wow, I beat some really good people. Like, I was like, maybe I'm not as bad at this game as I thought I was. But I won. That was when we had Factory, and it was one of my favorite games that we still play, where you can either bank it or risk it with your points, and that's how I won, was off of my Factory runs, because I played a lot of Factory PvP.
Yeah.
And it was like, you run through, it's like, okay, you got these kills, you got this many points. Do you want to risk it or do you want to bank them? But if you risk it, your multiplier for the next raid goes up, you get more points. And it was like, okay, let's do this. And I won. And I was like, awesome, amazing. And then, I played the next round, and I got Tarkoved all day. It did not it was like, I got Tarkoved over and over and over. But even still, like, I met like some amazing people through that, made good friends with through that. But that was how I originally found them. And then season 3 rolled around, and I got into that, and I killed the season 2 winner in my first. I was happy. I was like, that's my highlight. I killed the champion for season 2 in my raids. I'm good. Like, I'm at the top.
Yeah.
Even
if
I lose,
I'm done.
Yeah. If I lose, I'm still the best. So I did that, and then I messaged Sig, and I was like, "Hey, if you ever want a guest caster, I would love to cast with you." Because she was still casting everything at this time. So, and she was bringing in guests to cast with her, and I was like, I would love to. So then she messaged me. I think it was like a Friday night. She's like, "What are you doing tomorrow?" And I was like, "Nothing." She's like, I was like, streaming. She's like, "Do you want to cast?" And I was like, "Yes." I was like, "Yeah, I would love to." So I got to cast with her, and I had a blast. We had a great time. And then it was like a few weeks later, and I messaged her, "Look, if you ever want me again, I would love to." And then a few weeks later, she was like, "Hey, I'm doing this. You want to come on?" And I was like, "Yes." And then I came on. I think I came on for the championship of that season too. I think she had me back for that.
Yeah.
And then we kind of, fast forward to season 4, season 5. Every production got much bigger for Evasion. And it was like, hey, we're going to have like a set of casters. Like, we're going to have people. Sig wanted to take a step back, if I remember correctly. I don't want to speak exactly for how all of that worked, but it was like, hey, we're going to have these set casters. And then we started doing that. And then I started talking to Hotel, and it just kind of became one of those situations where it was like, hey, we like you. You're now the headcaster, and it unfolded in that way, because we have so many talented people. And like, I was very fortunate. I mean, we have some great people over there in the casters team, and I honestly can't thank them enough for everything they do. And then me getting that opportunity to lead them was just beyond.
Yeah, for those that don't know, the caster, you're sort of doing the play-by-play, correct? That's what you're...
Yeah, so with the caster's role, we have a couple of different roles. So we have people that are more play-by-play. We have people that are more host-like. We have, but everybody's kind of flexible and does what we need them to, because we very much I'm a huge esports guy. Like
Yeah.
I love esports. I mean, I wake it's funny, like right now, every single morning I wake up and the first thing I do is I turn on the Rainbow Six Invitational
Yeah.
because that's going on. And I watch their production, I watch their casters, I watch their games. Like I just enjoy it. I
Mhm.
love casting, I love the production aspect of it. Um so it's one of those situations where it's like we as casters have to whereas like a big production company like that, they have people that are specifically like, you are the host.
Yeah.
This is your entire job. And then you are color, you are an analyst. You sit there and analyze every game, and then we talk about that in between games. And
Yeah.
you're the commentators. You're calling play by play in the game. We don't have that many people, and our competition isn't to that point yet.
Yeah.
I'm going to preface that with a yet.
Yes.
Um, so it's one of those situations where like we all have to wear many different hats. Some of
Mhm.
us wear the host hat a lot. I find myself in that role a
Yeah.
lot. And then some of us do the play by play and color very, very well. So yeah, when you're watching the competition and you're hearing those voices tell you what's going on or advertisements that we need to give
Mhm.
you, that is our voices.
Ah, very cool. And now, prepping for that, do you have to sort of, hop in a few different people's streams to get an idea of who they are and some background, or somebody else, pulling in that data and sort of organizing it and, getting it ready for you for like, when you go live, you've got everything there at your fingertips.
Both.
Yeah.
It is one of those situations where I always suggest to casters, make sure you go to any of the people that you may be casting for. Make sure you kind of take a look at their stream, understand them a little bit, get some background information.
Yeah.
But the team at Evasion, I like honestly, the fact like most people would not believe that this is a volunteer team over there
Yeah.
because the amount of work that that team puts in behind the scenes is for free. I mean,
Yeah.
this is their time that they're giving
Yeah.
is on another level. And when we get into the casters booth, they have data. They literally for us, like if we didn't want to go and do this stuff, we
Yeah.
could probably not, but I don't ever suggest that. I'm like, no, still do your research.
Yeah.
But honestly, like they have like what's their favorite maps, what's their favorite guns. Like there's an amazing team behind every show at Evasion that puts on so much work.
Yeah.
So seriously, like they get all of that information for us, and they do their research and they're great.
Yeah. Well, we had on our Christmas pod with I do with the hideout, we had Sigma, One Peg, Veritas,
Hmm.
Geeks,
Yep, I watched that.
and that was the first time we got to chat with Sigma, and it was phenomenal. What a fantastic lady! And
Hmm.
with her running in, Evasion's her baby. How can you not everybody be excited and just want to do everything to be successful there? It's a cool vibe, it seems. Talking to Garlem and just stuff I've seen on from Twitter and
Hmm.
all the tournaments. It's a fantastic job you guys all do.
It's an amazing thing. I mean, you got to remember that like the streamer battles, a lot of people don't realize that this grew from Sig being bored in the middle of wipes.
Yeah,
She's like, "What can we do to have fun?" And this is how it happened. And then for it to grow from this like idea of being bored into wipes into this company. I mean, this is like Evasion is a organization. It is a real company. It is
yeah.
I can't remember if it's an L I can't
I
remember
think
if
it's
she has an LLC.
LLC. I think.
I think she's LLC'd it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is a full on production company
Well,
that
to the
is
point where
ran.
you guys have you have API connections into the game. Your
Mhm.
servers are utilizing BSG servers.
Yeah,
It's real.
yeah, especially with trios. When we did trios, being able to have a private server
Oh,
last season for trios and BSG working with us in that sense and having access to kind of get a glimpse behind the curtain and with this company,
yeah,
it was amazing. It was absolutely it's like and like that being said too, like she is a huge part of the Tarkov community
yeah.
with like she's an emissary. Like
Hmm.
they're all very, very close. So it is amazing. God, like trios was something I never thought was gonna happen. And when it did, it was absolutely mind blowing.
Yeah. That was pretty cool. Awesome. So now there was another question I was going to ask about the Evasion piece, but oh yeah, the new season's coming. That's going to be some announcements soon. And you guys just added Gingy. I saw, was that yesterday or today, to the team?
Yeah, they added Gingy to the team yesterday, I believe.
That's
Yeah,
pretty cool. She's a longtime contributor to the community, and everybody loves her. It's like a natural fit.
yeah. The entire team Evasion over there with the growth that they've had this season, with a lot of the new announcements, it's been absolutely one of the coolest things to see, because you have Evasion as a team isn't just like competitive anymore. Like
Yeah.
they have the Evasion realistically, I like in the next year, I like time frame, like hard to say,
Yeah.
but like they are starting to grow as an organization to be something that you would see like 100 Thieves or
Mm-hmm.
FaZe Clan or any or like NRG.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that is the direction that Evasion is going very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And you never know. Like, I mean, I don't know what SIG and their, like even though I am a part of
Yeah.
the organization, I deal with a entirely different side, so I don't know what their official goal is
Yeah.
on that stuff. But if they announced tomorrow on Twitter and I woke up and they were like, "Hey, we have a competitive team for Call of Duty League,"
Yeah.
I would not be surprised. I would be like, "Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I see that happening."
Yeah. Or with the arena coming, whenever that drops, you've got a team ready to go, possibly
Mhm.
with and I don't know. There's some aspect of the arena that I think is just really cool, and I can't
Yeah.
wait to see what Nikita dreams up and has for us for that.
I think Arena, whatever, like I have ideas of what I would like to see from
Yeah.
Arena, but I think no matter what it is going to be competitive in a way that we haven't expected.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing I love about Evasion, because like Evasion is different. Even though I think Arena is going to be really, really cool, and I think we're going to be able to do some amazing tournaments with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're going to be able to have some like really amazing gameplay with that. Arena to me is not necessarily exactly what Evasion is. Evasion has always prided itself on kind of encompassing what the essence of Tarkov is,
Mm-hmm.
because their game types aren't just go kill this amount of
No, it's
people.
collect this too. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
and that's different than other games.
Yeah. And that's very different, because it's like, hey, we've got this game type where you've got to go up on shoreline and throw cameras down, and you've got
Yeah.
to do this, and it's like we still are going to reward you for killing things,
Yeah.
but you have another task that you need to do. And that's the great thing about Evasion, is they encompass this entire aspect of what Tarkov is. But Arena, I think, is also going to be another huge growth factor, where it's like,
Yes.
look, people want to watch people fight each other. They want to see
Absolutely.
that competitive level. And Evasion, I have no doubt, will be ready to put people into that. And
Yep.
I think once Arena comes, if it's at the level that it should be when it launches,
Mm-hmm.
that's when we might start seeing, especially if we keep doing tournaments for prize money,
Yep.
you're going to start seeing other orgs start
Mm-hmm.
going, can we make something out of this? I mean, that's how everything is. Think about Rainbow Six Siege. Like when it launched, it was still Rainbow Six
Yep.
Siege. Like orgs were looking at it, but then it's like, nope, they're doing prize money. We're doing real money. I mean, same with PUBG. Honestly, I think I always try to use PUBG as an example,
Yep.
because nobody knew what PUBG was.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knew PUBG, and then like they started running their own tournaments like we are
Yeah.
as a community, like not just Evasion, but as a
Mm-hmm.
community. And then they started doing prize money, and then they started getting developer help, and then they started growing, 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 and then PUBG became what it is. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like that's when other organizations started going, well, we're gonna put a team together for
Yeah.
this. And I can see that with Tarkov.
Well, especially right now, Tarkov seems to be the cool kid that all of the other gaming companies are sort of keeping an eye out. What game was it the other day I was reading that they're going to have there may be some Tarkov in this game or Tarkov in that game, and it's like catching on. People like this. But
People love it.
you went back, you were talking about esports, and that's a whole different ballgame altogether. With I do a lot of work. My normal job is we do like high end classrooms, conference rooms, and things like that with technology. We also have done college esports teams, and we're talking Division I schools that have esports directors, which you just don't even
Yeah.
think about that. And
Yeah.
it's such a cool concept because now you have St. John's recruiting kids to come play at their school, and it's great because these kids who may not be athletic, but they're part of the school now. They're wearing the school colors, and it's such a cool thing to, you can really make a living, being a gamer.
Yeah, and like a lot of people who we get this so many times where people are like, "Well, Tarkov's not a competitive game,"
Yeah.
and I'm like, What makes it not a competitive game?"
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, "Well, there's these kind of issues. There's like desync. There's server issues. Yada yada yada. Or certain things don't work correctly, or everything's not perfect." And I'm
Yeah.
like, have you ever watched a sports game? And they're like football. Have you ever watched football? Like just American football? How many times have you seen a football game where all of a sudden it starts raining or it starts snowing and the weather's changed? It's never a perfect environment no
Right.
matter what. You mitigate the issues that you have,
Yep.
build a dome. You know what I mean? That way you don't have to worry about outside weather. Well, now you don't have real grass. You have to worry about turf. How is that going to affect your players? Like every one of these aspects that people complain about in video games being competitive, I'm like, those are the exact same things other athletes have to compete with in the real world. Like
Yeah.
it's just digital now.
Yeah.
And to make those comparisons and say that Tarkov's not competitive, I don't think you know what competitive means if that's the case.
Yeah.
Because competitive is putting high level players against one another in these scenarios to do a task.
Yeah.
That is what all of it is. It is competitive. Like you can make your arguments as all you want, but if we are looking at factual definitions of a competitive sport, Tarkov fits that.
Well, just watching. If anybody watched any of any of the tournaments, you can, it is exciting. Whether you're trying to get some certain pieces of gear or whatnot, or just the PvP aspect, the one on one. It's there is an entertainment value and it's competitive. Absolutely. Yep. No doubt about that. So let's switch gears a little bit. Who, from a content creator side, are there any, people that people should be, you want to shout out to, or people should keep an eye out on for? And
oh man, content creators that people need to keep an eye out for. Like, are we referring to competitively or just like in general?
Your view, anyone that like you watch as like, hey, this person is going to be good, or just like, hey, here's shout out to somebody that people should go check out.
I honestly, the first person that always pops to mind whenever I hear this, and he is growing a lot, but I still think he's extremely highly underrated in the Tarkov community is WIlDez.
Yeah.
I enjoy going to Will stream because he has some of the most funny production and interactive things, like his videos that he had scripted and recorded for him, like after a raid if he's done good or something like that. Like WIlDez is one of the very first that pops to my head. Like, guys, please go. Like, man, he's one, and I found out about him through Evasion. Like, he was one of our competitors, and it was so funny because when he competed, because his name is WILDez.
Yeah.
For the longest time, we were like WIlDez. You know what I mean? Like we all thought it was WIlDez, and we're like WIlDez, and then it was like he's like, no, it's WIlDez, and it's like,
oh,
what? It's WIlDez. like nobody gets WIlDez. Where's the space?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like, and then from that moment, I was just like, I've enjoyed. I go to his streams and I just hang out and I just lurk. I just enjoy them.
Cool.
So.
Awesome. All right, that's someone's everybody should check out then. So now cooking. The other last week, you had a butter chicken, and then you said you put it in yogurt, or you marinated in yogurt.
Yeah.
I never heard of that before. So where did you find that?
That's Indian cooking.
Okay.
So yeah, it's you marinate the chicken thighs in full fat yogurt and garam masala seasoning. It was the first time I've ever attempted to cook butter chicken. I've never done it. But I come from a large, like I'm a huge cook. Like I've worked in restaurants my entire life. My stepdad was a professional chef. So I have a huge culinary background. Like, I
Yeah.
love cooking. I've done a few cooking streams on my channel, and
Oh,
it's one of
okay.
like it is one of my favorite things. Like, like one of the biggest things that I miss right now is I don't have the ability to do cooking streams,
Mm-hmm.
and I miss them. Like, they are my absolute favorite thing in the entire world.
Oh, shoot.
Um, I make a lot of Eastern dishes, whether it's from like, a lot. God, I do so many Korean dishes. I love Korean food. It's one of my favorite foods in the world.
Yeah.
Or Asian, like any kind of like Asian dishes. So I attempted the butter chicken. So it was just you chop up the chicken
Yeah.
thighs, you put it in full fat yogurt with garam masala seasoning, which is a very like sweet, earthy seasoning,
Mm-hmm.
and just let it sit overnight.
Yeah.
And then you char it off in like a Dutch oven,
Yep.
and then once it's charred off, like, you don't cook it, you're just getting the outside really hot and
Yeah.
toasty. Pull it out, and then you're gonna add, like, tomato, heavy cream, cumin, all your
Mm-hmm.
seasonings, things like that, and then you put the chicken back in there and just let it cook slowly, and
Oh,
it's amazing.
yeah. So
Absolutely amazing.
we do butter chicken all the time in the Instapot with all all the seasoning and everything.
Mhm.
When you dropped the yogurt, I was like, wow, okay,
Yep.
that's wild.
Yeah,
Oh.
that is, like, from my understanding from the research that I did, because I always try to make sure I understand, like, the different regional aspects that you could see from it.
Yeah.
But from my understanding, the chicken, realistically, like, it is always marinated in yogurt. Like, if you want traditional,
Mm-hmm.
like, it is marinated in yogurt, cooked off like that. And they always cook your chicken. Don't just throw raw chicken into the crock pot. Like,
Right.
that, like, oh my gosh, like, nothing makes me madder than watching people do things that like that. I'm just, please don't put some seasoning outside. Please season your food.
Oh man, that's crazy. Now, what is your go-to dish if you're cooking to impress somebody? What are you making?
Oh man, I have a long list of things. I mean, it honestly depends on them. Like,
Yeah.
it really truly depends on them. I can do homemade pasta dishes. I always make my own marinara or my
Yeah.
own spaghetti sauce. Like, I don't like I buy crushed tomatoes. I make my own sauce. Probably depending on if they are into it. One of my absolute favorites is stuffed flank steak.
Oh, a stuffed flank steak?
Yeah,
How do you stuff
yeah.
a flank steak? Do you fold it in half or?
No. So flank steaks are automatically already thin, right?
Yeah.
So what you're gonna do is you butterfly it. You open it up.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And then usually what I use is like a fontina cheese, some kind of like hard Parmesan, stinky cheese, something
Mm-hmm.
like that. Basil and basil and then prosciutto.
Yep.
And then what I do is I roll it into a log, and I will sear the outside, wrap it, and then roast it in the oven on a low
Oh.
roast until it's mid-rare through the whole thing, and then cut it, and then you get these nice little pinwheels of meat,
Oh,
herbs, and
nice.
cheese. Yeah, it's really, really good. And then I do marinate. The other thing is you have to marinate the meat in red wine and shallots for like
Yeah.
overnight. So
Oh, very
yeah.
cool. Now back to the Asian, the Eastern food. One of the people in my chat about a couple months ago talked about Japanese curry, katsu or katsu
Chicken
curry.
katsu. Yeah, or
I've never,
yeah, katsu.
I've
Mhm.
never heard of a curry Japanese chicken before, and it's like I got to try that out. Have you tasted that? Have you made that or?
I've never had Japanese curry. So Japanese curry, from my understanding, is very, very different than
Oh,
Indian
okay.
curry, but it's still it's not as to my understanding, it's not as herby. Like,
Yeah.
it's not as like, when you think about Indian curries, there's a lot of spices in
Oh,
there. There's
yeah.
like so much. It's kind of overwhelming, and it's also like with the Japanese curries, it's sweeter. It's
Mm-hmm.
so you get that sweet savor. That's one of my reasons that I love like Japanese or Korean or anything like that is it's the flavor combinations that they do with salty and sweet.
Oh,
They have
okay.
that
Yep.
umami, like flavorful, like savory, but then they also pair it with something sweet every single time, and it
Yep.
just hits the taste buds in such an amazing way.
Ah, very cool. Awesome. Well, hey, hopefully this wasn't too painful for you to do
No.
this. This is I really appreciate you taking the time and doing this pod. I'll drop this probably next week or the week after. And normally what I do is, hey, who you calling out? For me to reach out and get on the pod?
Oh man, to reach out and get on the pod, there are so many creators. You know what? I wanna say any of our new Evasion family members like
Mhm.
WIlDez or Ash or somebody like
All
that,
right.
like I would reach out to those guys, get
Okay.
them on the podcast. Both of those guys I think are really big up and comers in the Tarkov community.
Yep.
So show them some love. I would reach out to those guys.
Done. All right. And you may have to nudge them, but I'll get them on, and they can tell their story, and we'll find out their secrets.
100. I know their boss, so I'll just message him. And
There
say,
we
like,
go.
"You need to
Perfect.
make them do it."
Well, Bunny, hey, I really appreciate this. This has been fantastic, and hopefully, we didn't destroy your chat too much.
No, you're good. I appreciate it too. Thank you so much for this. This has been a pleasure.
Awesome. All right. Hey, you have a good night, man.
You too. I appreciate it.
All
Thanks so
right.
much.
See ya.
All right.